We finally have more information on what Kevin Frankie knew and how he says that this happened.
Kevin Frankie has finally spoken out. Go back and watch the video that I stitched so you can get all of the information about his statement. I will tell you, I find his statement just a little bit sus. My name is Billy Tarasio. I'm an Arizona family law attorney, and I usually answer family law questions on my channel. But the Ruby Frankie case has been incredibly interesting to me, so we are going to talk about it. In this creator's video, she does an excellent job recapping Kevin's statement. And Kevin's statement is now come out on September 13th. And if we recall, Ruby was arrested on the 30th, August 30th. So it has been 2 weeks, and he has said basically nothing. The only thing he said up until now is his lawyer saying that Kevin wasn't abusive. Well, that's a safe thing to say, isn't it? But he offered no explanation. Now, an explanation has been offered, and that explanation looks eerily similar to what we've heard recently from Adam Steed. Adam Steed has come out and given an account of how Jody Hildebrand ruined his marriage, and Kevin is essentially parroting what Adam has said. And it may or may not be true, but what Kevin is claiming is that he had zero contact with his children for the last 13 months, didn't even know they moved. So he could have had no actual knowledge of the abuse, and that he wants the children placed with him. Now, why we didn't hear about this at the shelter hearing that took place is what's really confusing to me. So if this was true, then he would have said this at juvenile court when they were determining where to place the children. He would have spoken up on behalf of his child. But another part of Kevin's statement is that basically he's just doing what his wife told him. Is it possible? Is it possible that this man is just doing what his wife told him, and his wife said, don't contact me if you want to save our marriage, leave us alone, don't contact me or the children, we're great without you, and he just did it? I guess it's possible, but does it make you a good dad? No. Does it make you a minimally competent dad? No. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. But that doesn't mean that the children might not end up with Kevin. And this is oftentimes why, if you are accused of a crime or you think you might be accused of a crime, being silent is the very best thing you could possibly do. Because whether or not Kevin is telling the truth, his statement and his story now has a ring of truth to it, because he waited long enough to make sure that his story was consistent with others that have come out, and it gives him a whole lot of plausible deniability. So this is going to turn on several things. Is Kevin telling the truth? We don't know, but the children will be interviewed. They will get to speak their truth, and people will listen, finally. That means the older children and the younger children, so that's good. We will be able to know if Kevin was indeed physically abusive. Another thing to remember is that the questionable and abusive behavior of taking away a bed is not illegal. The abusive behavior of failing to get your daughter lunch when she forgets it and she's 6 years old, not illegal. Not illegal as a single incident. Only illegal as a pattern that leads to starvation. And so if the state can't prove that he was part of that pattern that led to starvation, or that he had never engaged in acts of overt physical violence, he may have the children placed with him. It's possible he won't be charged with failure to protect his children, even though he is a mandatory reporter. It's possible the children will end up back with him. The other thing that the state will look at, not only the stories of the children and other witnesses, but also physical marks. Are there any scars or broken bones? Is there any evidence of old wounds that are older than 13 months that would prove that he failed to protect his children or abused his children? That's another thing that people will look at. The stories that are coming out about this case and about these players, about Jody specifically, are very interesting. And so Jessie, her niece, came out and gave a 3-hour interview on Mormon Stories. It's very interesting. And she details a torture pattern that likely the Ruby Frankie children were put through as well. And I've already talked about how the sexual abuse allegations against Russell could have been the result of a false confession or their own delusional paranoia. That is definitely backed up by Jessie's story It's interesting that now Kevin has taken a note or chapter out of the same playbook to jump on to Russell's testimony and make himself a very, very good plausible deniability excuse. 2 weeks too late. What do you all think? Do you buy it? Do you buy what Kevin is selling?